presentation on the famous American poet Robert Lee Frost.
We hope you enjoy your visit to the world of Robert Frost.
Now I will introduce Miles Gilbert, who will talk about Robert Frost.
So, Robert Lee Frost was born on March 26, 1874 in San Francisco, California. Frost's first poem, My Butterfly, was published in 1894 in a magazine called The Independent. He sold it for $15. In 1895, Robert Frost married Eleanor White, and they met in high school when they graduated in 1892 from Lawrence High School. They had 6 kids, and Elliot died when he was very young, and Eleanor died like she lived only one day. This is Robert Frost. This is Robert Frost's dairy farm in Derry, New Hampshire, and his grandfather paid for it, and but he told Robert that he would have to work 10 years on it. That he would have to work 10 years. And this is inside the dairy farm. That was the bed, and that was like a desk where he could like write poems. And this is Robert as a young man when he was working on the farm. These are more pictures of him as a young man. He sold the dairy farm and moved to Plymouth, New Hampshire, with his wife Eleanor. In 1912, they moved to New England. To England, and they lived in this stone house. And he published these 2 books, The Boy's Will and North of Boston. And they were rejected from editors. But when he came back to America, to New England, the editors wanted him to they wanted to publish the books. So in 1915 he returned to the United States, and they lived in Franconia, New Hampshire, and this is inside the farm. And by the 1920s he had become one of America's most famous poets. And he won 4 Pulitzer Prizes in 1924 for New Hampshire, in 1931 for a collected poem, in 1937 for A Further Range, and 1943 for A Witness Train. And this is the Pulitzer Prize, the front and the back. This is Frost's summer cabin that he lived in for 24 years in Ripton, Vermont. And this is where he wrote his summer and fall thoughts for 24 years. This is in 1959, Robert Frost's 85th birthday. And in 1961, Frost was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor by President Kennedy, and he was elected to speak and read a poem at his inauguration, and he read The Gift outright by heart, and he was the first poet to read at an inauguration of the President of the United States. And this is before his death in 1963, and this is his grave, and all of his, these are him and Eleanor, and then his 6 children, and he died on January 29th, 1963. And his grave is in Bennington, Vermont. And now Alexandra is going to read a poem, Stop by Woods on a Snowy Evening.
I'm gonna read Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods films grow. My little horse must think it's queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Frost wrote about time, about how things change and cannot stay the way they are. In this poem, he looks around him and sees the glorious beauty of a spring day, and he prays that it could somehow be kept so it would not disappear.
In fact, the poet sees that the day as being love itself, something that is sanctified. But even as he utters the prayer, he knows that it cannot be answered. A prayer in spring.
Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away as the uncertain. As your certain harpist, keep us here, oh simply in this ringing of things.
Oh, give us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghost by night. And make us happy in the happy bees, the swarm dilating round the perfect trees.
And make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the meteor that thrusts in with needle bill, and off a blossom in midair stands still.
For this is love and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify to what far ends he will, by which it only needs that we will fulfill.
Close to the kids. It is late autumn, it is cold, and the brooks are starting to freeze up. But late at night, two people watch the moon rise and go toward the brook, and they know by its sound that the brook is still open.
Going for water. The well was dragged beside the door, and so we went with pail and can across the fields behind the house to seek the brook if it were out. Not loth to have excuse to go, because the autumn eve was fair, though chill, because the fields were ours, and by the brook our woods were there.
We ran as if to meet the moon, that slowly danced behind the trees, the barren boughs without the leaves, without the birds, without the breeze.
But once within the wood we paused, like gnomes that hid us from the moon, ready to run to hiding no, with laughter when she found us soon. Each laid on other a staying hand, to listen ere we dared to look, and in the hush we joined to make, we knew we heard the brook.
As a note, as if from a single place, a slender, thinking, fallen rain, now dropped that floated on the pool like birds, and now a silver blade.
hope you enjoyed our 5th grade presentation on Robert B. Frost.
Hi.